Unmute my own mic from the center of the galaxy. This is ForceCenter News live on a Monday. We are a show about Star Wars pop culture and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Jen Landa.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
And we are going to talk like we're railroad barons from some bad school play about the West. Hey, everybody. We're here live. Yep. A little crunchy internet. It's just where we are now. The internet doesn't work. Nowhere. The internet just doesn't work. We've been lied to about the internet.
I bet it could
work. Internet.
I bet the internet could run on time, just like them trains in the West.
I've been watching. We're going to talk Star Wars news. We got some late breaking Star Wars news, not on a large scale, but an important scale. And a nostalgic scale. We're going to talk a little bit about Sigourney Weaver, some of her comments about The Mandalorian Grogu and the future of Star Wars films, even though I don't know if you've seen a Star Wars film. We'll talk about that and other little things all the way through it. We're going to catch up. Yes, we are live. I've been watching a lot of historical dramas lately. I finished the James Garfield series, The Death by Lightning, and then I went right into the Gilded Age, which is not the same creators, but it's kind of a sequel because it happens a year later. And I was watching, and I was like, man, they had no internet, no real electricity. What do you do? And now, I don't know, there's some kind of sweet relief in just sitting there doing a puzzle or crochet, and I might have to pick that up.
Yeah, live your life by candlelight, just for one night, Ken.
Just try it. Oh, man. So as we all three upload files, we are going to dive into Life Adventures Catching Up. It's our first show of the week. We got some Star Wars Visions Volume 3 reviews coming later this week. Thank you to everyone joining us for the live show on Friday, the call-in show. It's a lot of fun. Great way to kind of get the weekend started. So we'll dive in, though. But Jen, I can barely see you through the snowstorm that is apparently in your house. But how are you doing, and how's life?
Good. I didn't have very many Star Wars adventures, but I went to the Los Angeles Library in downtown Los Angeles. It's so beautiful there. So beautiful. My daughter's working on a project about Native Americans, and it is Native American Heritage Month, November it is. And I was thumbing through it, and I saw a picture of the Hopi Native American tribe, and the traditional Hopi women's hairstyle, which looked very, very familiar. And I had forgotten Princess Leia's hairstyle was inspired by the Hopi women's traditional hairstyle. And it just was like, oh, wow, that's important. And that would have been really, I don't think that I knew that as a child growing up, but that type of information, I think, would have really helped me, a young brown girl growing up, and just knowing that Star Wars had taken inspiration from that culture.
Yeah, it wasn't. Clearly, it was there. The influence was there, and the presence. It was. I don't recall it being as discussed as much, right? Like that's what's different now. Not just the podcast of it all, but we just kind of took things on the surface. Cinnabon hair.
Yeah, you know? Right. Exactly. I had no idea the ties to our real world, and that would have been, I think, important information that now kids nowadays get access to thanks to the internet.
Well, I mean, if somebody really wanted to honor George Lucas, they would do like he did with the Young Indiana Jones and, put out all of those physical media that had the real life history lessons. It'd be great if Disney put out like an edition of the Skywalker saga and said, okay, and here's a 20-minute informational video on the real life history of Padme's gowns. Here's on Leia's hair, on the Kurosawa of it all, all that kind of stuff. It'd be great.
Ken, pitch it. You're the person to do it. You're the history buff.
Yeah, that takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want.
Come on.
I want to do Doc. No, I love the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and the like over 100 docs that were on those discs that were limited. You're right.
Yeah,
it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. And those are available on Lucasfilm's official YouTube page. All the Indiana Jones, young Indiana Jones docs, and they're wonderful. They're fascinating. They're definitely docs you can tell the style in Docs has changed. And they're like late 80s, early 90s style. A little more schmaltzy music. And the talking heads are a little bit more prepped and prepared than some of the, more cinema verdos kind of style we have now. Or the weird angles, where the whole camera angle up here on a Doc subject. No one walks in and does this and gets settled, and then the Doc starts. You know what I mean? Like how every Doc has that.
Yeah.
Yes, and the new angle where somehow looking directly in the camera now reads as insincere. So we have a 3/4 angle of someone looking directly in the camera.
Yeah,
they're not
So weird.
Camera should be here. 3 angles here. Yeah.
Yeah. The Lucas, the Indiana Jones Docs are perfect for of their time, but also just wonderful. Anyways, we'll maybe we'll cover those. We won't. That's a lot of work. Anyways, Joseph, how was your Star Wars adventures?
I am still in this sort of transitional state between big sigh because the film is basically done. I did a bunch more work on the sound mix, and now I really need to get ramping up to all of the things I have to do to try to sell it in various ways. But it also means like I'm in this weird little valley where I can kind of take a little bit of time. And one of the things I did while I was working on the film is I decided that I didn't want to open any of the action figures that I had pre-ordered. And if anybody is an action figure collector, they put them up on, I use the Entertainment Earth site. You can order an action figure 1 year and it might come in 2 months or it might come in another year. And so it wasn't like I bought them all at once, and I had to tell my wife this as they're coming in. Like, I didn't just buy these. This is like a year of pre-orders. But I decided I wasn't going to open any while I was working on the film. So a mountain of Star Wars action figures in large boxes had piled up. And one night this week, I decided to have a splurge and open like 15 boxes with Star Wars action figures. So many wonderful treats in there. A Saj Ventress action figure that I've never had. The one that really entertained me, they put out a new Dr. Evazan and a new Ponda Baba, a new Walrus Man. Fantastic action figure. But Ponda Baba comes with the accessories, a gun, an alcoholic drink, and a severed arm.
What?
And it's like this little morality tale in one action figure. Like, kids, these things don't mix. Don't go around the blaster and an alcoholic drink. You end up with a severed arm.
Lovely. See? Star Wars is a morality tale.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
nice.
Absolutely. Did I have any Star Wars adventures? Yeah, I did. We watched volumes, the first 2 episodes. We'll have that review out later this week. But I did that thing where, Star Wars is not top of mind all the time. But then I was flipping through. I have YouTube Live for like 1 month because I swiped a credit card because I wanted to watch football. Like, this is how they get you. And I was flipping through the channels, and AMC was doing their Star Wars marathon yesterday. And it's like when you see it in a hotel on TBS or something like that. It was A New Hope. It was the final 10 minutes of A New Hope. I know how it turns out. I've seen it before. I've lived it. And I just stopped everything. I stopped everything to sit and watch that, and actually ended up watching the beginning of Empire before I had to get up and go. And I just love that. In case you ever think, man, Star Wars is sometimes not in the back of my mind. We're so busy. There's so many things in the world to be worried about or concerned about or plugged in about it. And then you're like, oh yeah, no, I am a Star Wars fan. It's in my heart. I cannot move. New Hope is on. Empire's on. Even with commercial interruptions, I'm going to catch it.
That's awesome. That's
I
great.
missed that. Those are good times. Someday.
Just in general.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something neat about like being like, oh, Star Wars happens to be on, and just having that, like, now it has to be so intentional for me. Yeah, I like that though.
I know that feel. I know that feel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's Star Wars adventures, there's life adventures. Any other adventures, or shall we get to the news?
No. Well, Vulcan Nerd is saying, I'll pass on Bill Gates' money if I can have Joseph money and have all the Star Wars action figures. To be clear, that's 15 over a course of 1.5 years of pre-ordering them. So it's like $17 a month. It's kind of my allowance money, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
You too could support a Star Wars figure habit for only $17 a month.
And I'm lucky, to be clear, I'm very, very lucky to have that. But yeah. Someday I'll take this down and show people the squalor I live in.
Nah. Yeah, dude, too real. All right, let's look at some Star Wars news here live. As always, if you guys have a super chat, a comment, a question, we'll try to set those aside as well. We appreciate those, but join us here as we go through the news. We had some late breaking items, not like giant George Lucas will direct episode 12 kind of announcements, but this is why we do love doing the news live, because we can deal with them now, in the present, in the moment. Oscar Isaac, he is in the Frankenstein picture that's out there that I think you can now watch on streaming. I think I saw it already available. And he was talking. Okay, so he told Variety. I'm reading from Variety. And he told Variety in August, but this is just being picked up now. I'm always fascinated by that. I did not see that till this moment.
What?
Yes. This quote you're about to share was said 2 days after Disney fired Jimmy Kimmel and 2 days before they reinstated him, and it is only coming out now because it was published in a GQ article that was, it's a monthly. GQ is monthly. So this is a big spread for Frankenstein, and the quote came out. So take that with a grain of crate salt.
All right, yeah, no, that's actually. Okay, I see now. Yeah, hyperlinks. Okay. All right. Here, Oscar Isaac was asked about Return to Star Wars. And this, of course, as we know, happens often. In the past, you say, yeah, if I need another house, or maybe, various answers depending on moods, time, context. Joseph just provided the exact context there. He says, yeah, I mean, I'd be open to it, although right now I'm not so open to working with Disney. But if they can kind of figure it out and, not succumb to fascism, that would be great. If that happens, then yeah, I'd be open to having a conversation about a galaxy far, far away or any number of other things. Of course, he was involved heavily and starred in the Moon Knight series there. So, Joseph, I'll start with you here. Thank you for the context. I don't think his ideas or mind has been changed, but it might be slightly a different answer now. I don't know, but your thoughts on that?
I appreciate that Oscar Isaac speaks his mind, and I think that he is clear on his beliefs and what he stands up for, and I think that's great. I also think that we need to be cautious as people who absorb his quotes, that, in my opinion, quotes from people being interviewed are continually presented as though they called a press conference outside of their house and made an official statement. Like, so-and-so finally reveals, or get it off their chest. Like, nope, they're usually doing a press for something else, and it's a side thing. So I would love to hear his further thoughts on the state of Disney now. I agree with, as I think we all do, his concern that if Disney had not reinstated Jimmy Kimmel, that might have been a line in the crate sand, a line that Oscar Isaac wouldn't cross. Does he continue to have concerns? Because this is a really concerning time where it's hard to have business as usual when so many businesses are bending the knee to authoritarianism. So I would love to hear his current thoughts, and don't begrudge him the thoughts that he shared during the Jimmy Kimmel firing and before Jimmy Kimmel was reinstated.
Yeah, I agree with that. James and Chad saying additional context is quote just prior to this in the interview. People ask you things, you say stuff, you don't really think about it that much there too.
Can I just share that real quick, Ken?
Yeah,
because I think that is really good. So the quote that you had been quoting from the past was from 2020, where Oscar Isaac, right after Rise of Skywalker, said, "What I set out to do was to make handmade movies, to work with people that inspire me. He would probably not return to Star Wars, but who knows, maybe if I need another house or something." So he was asked in this GQ article about that quote from 2020, and then said, yeah, that was a real likable quote. Jesus Christ. People ask you things, you say stuff, you don't really think about it that much. I said a slightly dickish thing. And I think that quote, I wish that was the quote that was going viral. Not that I don't disagree. That I agree with him about the worries of Disney collaborating with fascists. I do worry about that. But I think this is almost more important for the context of the time that we're in, where if you're a public figure, it's almost dangerous to give a huge that needs context and reflection, because aggregators who want to get clicks. We'll share the things you say in the most volatile way and give you no room for being human. Same thing happened with Daniel Craig when right after an arduous shoot of a James Bond movie, and a press junkie said, I'd rather slit my wrist. And then people were like, wow. And he was like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I was really exhausted. I'm sorry. I'm human. And then he went on to make another James Bond movie that he was very proud of. And I just think that context is so important. It would be great for us to let artists be humans and speak like humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I with you. This is not to undercut anything he said or believes, because I'm pretty sure it's pretty strong belief from him overall, and that the Kibble thing was only one of many things that he might be conservative. And this is someone who in the past has expressed, maybe what he might have wanted for him. Poe and Finn's relationship was not necessarily in the cards for those at Disney. There's a lot of things, but he came back for Moon Knight, and it was a series very much from him and from his soul. So, Jen, this all makes sense. But your thoughts on this, and also just where we are. We all, I don't want to say fall victim to it, but when you're moving at 100 miles per hour through life, or trying to get through your morning, and you're having a piece of toast, and you're scrolling, and you're like, oh, Oscar Isaac said that. That's as far as we go with the digging in. Sometimes it's just the way of it. That's why I like the context.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And as Will McLean says, yeah, the context is not being shared on social media. The issue is that people want to believe that, this Disney actor, this Star Wars actor, this Latino is saying these nasty things about Disney, right? Or like being hardlined about it. The context, if he hadn't said anything, and that was weighing on his heart, it was so upsetting what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. Everyone was talking about it. People were angry. And so they caught him in a moment where that is his response. I'm glad he shared that. It's kind of troubling to me. Was there any sort of like context provided by GQ saying when this giving the context of how they asked this question? Because to me, it feels very shady.
The Variety article that I am reading says GQ notes the interview with Isaac took place 2 days after ABC. So I think in the actual article, it sounds like GQ shares the context, but
it doesn't matter though. It's off and running, right? And that's the problem with how fast social media works. It's the problem that we're going to start seeing with AI videos more and more that are completely fake, and news organizations are picking it up as if it is real. And it gets out there, it reinforces a stereotype, and then they have to be like, oh, actually it was just AI, we didn't realize it. And it's like, well, but the damage is done. Or people will be like, yeah, that's AI, but things like that really do happen. It's just like, what is it, confirmation bias? So the whole thing is just bad. And I feel for him, because I don't want people to clam up and not really express their true thoughts just because they're worried that people are going to rake them over the coals however many months later for something that they said that was in good faith and, in my opinion, the right thing to say. So very frustrating.
Yeah, and I am. Joseph provided the full context there. It is in the GQ thing. But this is the thing. We were recording this morning. We were busy with that. So it's like, even I put in the story and you see it. All right, here's the quote. And then, more things unfurl around it. So, he is, editor note is there. Good old fashioned editor note. But yeah, anyways. But also, again, this could come up again with other decisions, not just with Disney, but other companies. And I'm not surprised we're not going to see more of this out there. But it's a tough world. If he says no, it doesn't mean because Daisy Ridley said yes years ago and signed on that she, doesn't believe in the same things. That's where it gets a little more complicated too for me. But there you go. Yeah. He'll come back.
Yeah, he'll go back.
But I do. Yeah, sorry. I was looking off screen here because I got caught in the. I'm very glad you brought that up, Joseph. But yeah, I mean, he's very clear. Says, yeah, if they could figure that out, that would be great. And I said a slightly dickish thing. There's way more clarity in this full interview than the sound bites that's going around.
Well, and I go through it when we're prepping for the show of like, man, do I have every time we talk about one Star Wars quote, I'm like, man, I hope I have time to listen or watch or read the full context, because even when we're pulling one quote that's Star Wars relevant, it totally matters if you watch it and it's kind of a hostile interview or it's a really relaxed 4-hour podcast. Like, all that context does matter, but it's time consuming to take the responsibility to. No, this one is pretty fast, but
It is.
Like you said, your average person just like, I got to get my kids to work and I'm eating a muffin and I'm scrolling. They don't have time for the context, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and back in the day in ForceCenter, we had, I don't say even more time, but like there would be, hey, here's the full 44-minute interview with so and so. It's pretty cool. I would sit down and listen to it and watch it. I don't have that time anymore. So that's why we got to be extra vigilant. But anyways, interesting comments indeed from August of 2025. This would all make, it'd all be a little bit better if a little less internet and more magazines. But unfortunately, that leads us to our other late breaking story. Star Wars Insider will end in 2026. Looking at the official announcement on StarWars.com. They write, after more than 200 issues, Star Wars Insider will end its current run in 2026. It took that moniker in 1994, but of course, the earliest incarnation of the idea, they write, was in 1978, the official Star Wars fan club, which of course kind of became Bantha Tracks and then the Lucasfilm fan club, and kind of led to where we are now with Star Wars Insider. Star Wars Insider issue 237 will be the magazine's last with Titan. As we fly off into the twin sunsets, Titan intends to go out with a blaze of glory there. So, Jen, I start with you. Your thoughts on the loss of Star Wars Insider?
Yeah, that's a real shame. A real shame. I felt like they always operated with integrity, and joy, and I feel like everyone I knew or have worked with has contributed a story to them. So it's truly the end of an era. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I write in the stack of magazines. I have two with me that I've had for a long time. That's not how that works. There we go.
Wow. Man.
It's some of my favorite Star Wars memories. And by the way, these are Phantom Menace era. This is they're old enough that I have to do this to look at them now. 'Cause I'm old. I was going to Borders Books at the Northridge Fashion Center to pick those up. The internet was alive and well, but it wasn't what it was. That's where a lot of my love of Star Wars continued to grow, between movies and between the things that were out and about in the public. It was Star Wars Insider. So it is an unfortunate sign of the times that I don't know, what we could do with that. I don't remember the last time I went out and bought a magazine or even pay for some subscription online. So I guess I could be to blame as well. But it is truly it's an end of an era, Joseph.
Yeah, no, there was a time where I read Star Wars Insider a lot. I didn't have disposable income really at all. I was in between jobs, and my girlfriend at the time got me the subscription, which at the time also gave you more access to, I think it was like a hyperspace something it was called, and it gave you more access to the StarWars.com website. And I realized it's why I have my Wu Hair action figure. He was, only hyperspace members could get Wu Hair, and the Star Wars Insider magazines came, and I have a bunch of them with like covers that I really cherish. And a lot of times in the last 10 years or so, the grocery store near us used to have an old school magazine stand, and I would see a Star Wars Insider magazine and be like, I barely have time to read this, but I gotta, because it would be things like an interview with Misty Rosas, who played Queel and Frog Lady, in a place where people who might not get the spotlight got the spotlight. And not just in an internet article that scrolls past. It's Misty Rosas, who's maybe not going to get as much attention as she deserves, staring out at the whole world from a magazine at a grocery store. And that's the part that kind of bumps me out. And I stopped picking up the Insider as much because the grocery store got rid of their newspaper stands. And now it's just kind of garbagey, like, here, let's remember Marilyn Monroe again, the clickbait version of physical magazines.
Yeah. Gosh, no, that was my happy place for a while. It was just it's a Friday night, and I'm alone in this world. I'm going to go to Borders to get some magazines, just sit down, go peruse the books, buy some I'll never read because I won't have the time. I missed that. But also, yeah, I mean, it's these are glorious. These are glorious there. So thank you, Star Wars Insider. Thank you for that.
Pivot to video.
Pivot to video.
Chris Ryan says, I saw this Star Wars Insider news coming for a while, unfortunately. Hopefully, this will mean more content for the official website, at least. I'll miss that magazine. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just feel like we're in an era where it is really hard to tell how much is the economy driving choices. Like, oh, yeah, it's really hard to make money off of a magazine and not enough people are buying it. I don't trust that that's true. It's more like, we don't want people to buy magazines. In fact, we want to control the flow of conversation and information more. So we're going to dictate what is available. I don't. That's the thing that frustrates me. Of like, what is just a clear relationship between supply and demand is very obscured these days.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, we've removed that option from a lot of younger generations, right? Maybe Jen, maybe your daughters would just love a good magazine stand if they knew one existed.
Yeah, maybe it'll come back. Because, I mean, blogs are kind of obsolete as well. Websites, people don't go to those places as much anymore. I feel like StarWars.com has even shrunk just with the contributors and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, they're all saying for now, so hopefully maybe there will be a new company that picks it up and it will return gloriously in 6 months.
Yeah, or big, quarterly issues or something like that. It still could exist. But tipping our cap to Star Wars Insider there. All right, looking at the rest of the news here, we have a little bit on the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu. Sigourney Weaver was talking about that, pulling a quote. I'll say without full context, just pulling it. Reading from a Gizmodo article there, she was asked why she signed on to The Mandalorian and Grogu, and jumping into that franchise. I think this is her 5th big franchise, if you include Alien, Ghostbusters, Avatar, that kind of stuff. Wow. She says, it's always a script. So with The Mandalorian and Grogu, it was not my intention to find a 4th franchise. So I think eventually I saw some online chatter of, no, Sigourney, this is your 5th. You forgot about Avatar. I didn't ever imagine that it would enter the Star Wars world. But what's interesting about Star Wars now is they're no longer trying to do the Star Wars to end all Star Wars. They're letting the universe exist and telling really interesting stories within that. We have a little bit more on that too. Like I said, just dealing with this quote. But Joseph, what does this do to your hopes for the movies? What do you take from that? What do you think she means?
I hope and think that she means that it's a really personal driven story and that it isn't concerned about escalating things to a sort of galactic level. And obviously we know in this kind of Star Wars timeline, we don't how big of a thing can you make it? I know, a lot of times like people want the plot scale to be this massive escalation because we got used to Star Wars as a saga where there was this massive galactic wide conflict and then personal stories set within that. I feel like what she's saying is there's an understanding that we can have more films like Solo, where like the stakes are quite high for all the characters that we know, but it isn't about the fate of the galaxy. And I'm really happy with that because I feel emotional stakes have to be high in a story, not galactic stakes. And I think sometimes when people say like, oh, something feels too small like a television show, it isn't that the big plot stakes aren't high enough, it's that the stakes for the characters aren't high enough. What makes it feel like a TV show is they had an adventure of the week, not an adventure where they were pretty deeply changed. And I think her responding this way of like, they're not trying to make a big galactic war story, it's a real personal story where the stakes are high for Mandalorian and Grogu is the way I am wanting to believe what she means.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good point. I definitely, and Solo's a great example of, both smaller scale, but big in the state of the Star Wars world and with this character on Solo that I love so much. And I just love that movie, but it is about the change. But I'm definitely one of those ones that's like, I have that feeling sitting in episode 9, like it's a Star Wars movie. I'm living off some of the experiences in my past, meaning like I'm expecting to cry at a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I'm expecting to go, when Star Wars shows up, and I'm expected just to have my butt rattled in the seat, just because that's kind of been my experience. And so I understand if it's not as much that it might feel less than, but that's not the truth. And also you reminded me of like a lot of the movies that I love, late 90s, early 2000s, are really small scale. intimate stories of individuals going through great changes that affected me, that just kind of left me there, somber, reflective, and silent. You know what I mean? Like that's a movie experience just on the same scale as my butt being rattled in a seat. So I think that's the core of what she's saying here, and it does give me hope. I will go a little bit later here in a beat about a little more context, a little bit more on it in terms of what she has or has not seen in Star Wars. But Jen, your thoughts on this as well?
That got me excited because it is going to be more, I don't want to say intimate, but it is going to be more intimate in terms of the relationship between Mando and Grogu. And it's like, we have this big galaxy and we're taking our binoculars and we're zeroing in on this one part of the galaxy, this one tale, this duo. And that's, I feel like that's what we've been kind of wanting. It's a new direction, and I think we're going to continue to get these types of things. We've gotten that with Skeleton Crew and in other places, and it's just an extension of that. But just now, we get it in the movie theater, which who doesn't love going and seeing Star Wars on the big screen?
Yeah, indeed. More on that, though. She didn't provide much insight into her character, and we know there's been things in the last couple of weeks of the amount of time she was on set or anything like that. But she is right now, other than The Mandalorian and Grogu, she's kind of the only performer being put out in front of the public by Lucasfilm of being in this movie. So I said she didn't provide more insight, but she did praise Jon Favreau and his script, saying, I think Jon thought, okay, we want this very strong character. Let's make it a woman. I'm not sure it was supposed to be a woman. I think, again, these days they often think, what do I need to do to make this seem more timely? And now, because women are doing everything, hooray for us. I don't know the tone in which she said that, so maybe made that more cynical than I thought. But I just fell in love with the script and said, I don't know anything about this world. And then Jon said, well, you can watch the series. And I said, oh, there's a series. Jen? Thoughts on a non-Star Wars fan joining us, finally join the franchise, which has happened before. We've discussed it before. We don't need all of our performers or directors or writers to be diehard Star Wars fans. People will point to Tony Gilroy. But I thought this was kind of amusing and charming. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Jeannie, I agree. I love her. She is 76 years old. And I saw a clip of her. I don't think it was from something else. And she just seems like the type of person that tells it like it is. She's doing her own thing. She's not keeping up with Star Wars. She's a movie legend. Like, she's got her own thing going on, right? I don't even know what her last memory of a Star Wars is. Like, when she's talking about all this, is she talking about the prequels, the sequels? Empire Strikes Back, who we don't even know. Right? So I just thought it was so funny that she just is like, she has nothing to lose, to just share her opinion, and I love that.
Nick making the joke that I think we all want to make. They made a book out of that, which I have some people in my life who are like that. And it's great. It's great. I think, Joseph, this is fun. I think, to Jen's point, she's a legend in her 70s who gets to kind of call her shots. And if there's some enthusiasm from the team behind it, trying to pull her in, recruit it, and she reads it and goes, yeah, this is fun. Whether she's on set for a day or a month, it doesn't matter to me. This makes me even look more forward to the film, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a ton in that quote that I really like. I think the is there a series joke is really funny, but it also means to me that Favreau's script works without a bunch of context, or has the context handled really well. So she didn't have a bunch of like, no, wait, where did this kid come from? What's the deal? Who has the Force? Is this kid Yoda? Like all the things that maybe people might be concerned about. This is a film that is coming out of 3 seasons in 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett. That stuff is really clear. It also means to me, what you're saying about the character being powerful and loving the script. I feel like I've seen films that I like where Sigourney Weaver is kind of dropped in as a bonus. That I have hope that there's some meat to her character, and that her character is involved in the personal journey of Din and Grogu. So it got me really thinking about, like, well, if she is some sort of rebel pilot, some sort of rebel leader, what might her meaty relationship with Din be? What kind of influence could she have on Din? And I think Din is in this interesting position where he wants to show Grogu how to be an honorable Mandalorian. And he's also agreed to take jobs from the New Republic hunting dishonorable Imperials. So Din's in this interesting place of like, could Sigourney Weaver play a character who's like, okay, you're a gun for hire and you're willing to make these decisions about who it's moral to go after. Do you want to go all the way? Do you want to become a true believer of the New Republic? That's an interesting thought to me of like, what meat is the character going to have in her relationship with Din and Grogu and how she influences their journey?
Yeah, no, and I already seen, fun clips of Grogu trying to take her snack or whatever that is. So it's going to be playful, but also with a great purpose there. Quite enjoy that there. Jen, any more thoughts on there? I was going to ask, what episodes would we want her to watch? What episodes would we put in front of her? It's like, oh, you're going to study? You can study Mandalorian?
I know.
Here.
Can you imagine like saying, oh, here, I would just say, go watch a couple of the first season. That's really, she just needs to get the vibe. That's all. The tone of the show. She's a profesh. She doesn't need to know all the canon.
Joseph, you have an episode choice? Because I have one in mind, but it might be the same one. What do you have?
Probably. Episode 2, The Child, or Chapter 2, The Child. Yeah. Chapter 9, The Marshal, because that was the one directed really well by Favreau, and Chapter 20, The Foundling, which is in season 3, and the one where Grogu has to face the tragedy hammer and think about his past a little bit.
I would recommend The Prisoner, season 1, episode 6.
That's really a good one.
Yeah, that's
sci-fi horror on a spaceship. Have you ever experienced this before, Sigourney? This is kind of what
you ever been on kind of a whitish ship being hunted by something? Yeah. What I really love is when she's watching, if she takes Jon Favreau's word, there's a series and she finishes season 2, starts season 3, and is like, the hell? Has to text Jon Favreau like, I thought Din left Grogu behind. And like, John's like, okay. So Book of Boba Fett is kind of Mandalorian season 2.5.
We decided to do that. Pedro wasn't available for some. Some people didn't like it. Yeah. No,
and to all these discussions, I do think an actor can have that information, but the majority of actors need to know who is the character, what are their goals in the scene. You don't need to know unless you want to know.
Yeah. Any big final thoughts here on what her comments? Like I said, I don't say what they mean for Star Wars films going forward, but if that's the vibe, if that's what's going on, any big thoughts as we look to the future of Star Wars films, Joseph?
In terms of just like what the hopes are based on this?
Just as we build the new Star Wars films going forward, I guess how much do we feel like she's talking about a bigger vibe going on? I would argue that the scripts are there, the characters are there in the past, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I mean? Going forward.
I think that what she's saying is very clearly related to Mando in Mandalorian and Grogu, as well as Starfighter. And I think a truth of Star Wars is like, we could make the choice to just always be sagas every 10 to 15 years, epic sagas. But I think it's really valuable to say, like, we've got this massive sandbox. It can be all sorts of different things. We've had success with that in the television shows. Let's bring that to the films, because we think the audience is sophisticated enough to not need the entire galaxy at stake every time.
Yeah. Jen?
I think that someone may have told her this. Kind of explaining the direction that they've been going with these new movies. And I think she was like, oh, I like that. And I think that there is some truth to that until we get our next trilogy, our next quote unquote saga, right? And so I think, like Starfighter and Mando and Grogu, all these things are kind of like just little, I don't want to say bite-sized because we got that with Visions, but just like different corners of the galaxy where we can explore these stories. But we'll eventually come back, and then people will be like, Star Wars is back. And we'll all say, well, no, we've been here. We've been enjoying all these great films prior to that. Thanks.
Yeah. This just means to me that we're going to get some Merchant Ivory Star Wars pictures. Just no wars, just a lot of cotillions and interpersonal drama. So there we go. Sticking with The Mandalorian and Grogu, we got a little bit of news here that was from StarWars.com. I want to shout out our good buddies, Alex and Molly, Star Wars Explained, and kind of put it on my radar screen. But the Anzelins that we've seen in the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu, their names have been revealed. We have Bai, Clang, and Keto. Bai, Clang, and Keto. Jen, we turn to you now. How do these rate on the Star Wars cute scale?
The shot that Star Wars Explained posted, it just is so freaking cute. It was such a great image that other publications started running with their image, not giving them credit. But I love it. And if you look at the images of the Anzelins, they have these kind of like almost ET-like faces, which I'm a huge fan of ET. And I think on a scale of 1 to 10, the more Anzelins you have, the more their cuteness factor goes up. So I'm going to rank it an 8 out of 10.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, that's big.
That's big.
Joseph, your thoughts on the cute scale?
I have to agree with Jennifer. I think I love Babu Frick, but alone he comes off a little psychotic, which balances out the cute for me. So I like that. I love their names. It isn't quite Nikto Plateau Barado, but close enough to sort of get that vibe of classic. We're pulling directly from sci-fi and pulpy sci-fi with no shame vibe. I love the lack of shame when it comes to Anzelins.
Yeah, and high on the cute scale. I love everything about it. Still a big Babu Frick fan, and you're right. He's got some stuff going on there. He's an interesting cat. But what I love about this is, Bai, Clang, and Kato. Like immediately, I'm thinking, all right, whose dog was named these? Whose dogs was named this, or what on the production team says, oh, we just call it Kato because it's design number K. Oh, like that, the fun Star Wars lore that sometimes in the past, as we talked about, took years to get out, but now it could be pretty immediate. This is beyond just the names, including the ones you mentioned, Joseph, in the past. It just seems to be dripping in that kind of Star Wars nostalgia, the behind the scenes lore. Looking forward to figuring out more.
And selfishly, I hope they get hit by a growth ray so that they can be action figures in the 3 3/4 scale that make any sense, because they're too tiny for the 3 3/4 scale.
That's right. That's right. It's like,
oh boy.
I accidentally was doing some dusting this week, and I knocked over my little box of Black Series porgs that are like, kind of
tiny.
I know Babu is out there. All right. Moving along here on our live Star Wars news. We got some questions and comments coming in. We appreciate you all there. We got Ryan Johnson on Peace and the Star Wars fandom and his trilogy. While speaking at the Newport Beach Film Festival, just down the road from all of us here, Ryan Johnson addressed the reaction to The Last Jedi, the prequel wars, and making more Star Wars. Again, just pulling one big quote out of this. There's more in the article. When asked if the reaction to The Last Jedi contributed to him not making his previously announced trilogy, Ryan said, no, not at all. In fact, it's the reason I wanted to. My overall experience with putting the movie out and what you're talking about with the fan feedback. I mean, first of all, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan, so I know the deal. I know that Star Wars fans are passionate about this stuff. We love the stuff we love. We hate the stuff we hate, and we fight about it. And that's been happening since the original trilogy. I was in college when the prequels came out. Are you kidding me? The prequel wars? We had a few. I mean, everybody did. And so the notion that Star Wars has been this kind of Shangri-La, united fandom, and that nothing could then split that apart is false. The reality of Star Wars has always been something that has meant different things to different people, and I think that's part of the fun. And the passion of it is arguing about it respectfully. So, hey, look, he's right. Going back to Star Wars Insiders or Bantha Tracks or anything, or letters to the editors to Starlog. Star Wars fans have always had opinions about Star Wars. I want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the most peaceful moments we've experienced, but overall get your reactions, Joseph, to Ryan Johnson's comments, because I know, sir, you fought in the prequel wars.
This is literally very close to a stand-up bit I've done. Where when a guy was tweeted at me mad about hating Force Awakens and saying I wish I could go back to the way it was when George Lucas was in charge of Star Wars, and we all agreed about everything. Just being like, child, no, I fought in the prequel wars, the special edition conflict of 1997. It's a stand-up bit I did that people liked and enjoyed, and I agree with Ryan Johnson. I think I didn't know about it, but people have posted on social media the fan group that shut down when Empire Strikes Back came out because that wasn't their Star Wars. They wanted only a hopeful, happy story, and this thing that muddied the waters and made Luke deal with anger and his dad. Wow, I am being Darth Vader. No, so I think that there's never been full peace, and discussing it in a good-natured way has been a positive part of the fandom. I think is a really great thing for Rian Johnson to concentrate on. He says later in this interview, and he said many times of like, yeah, no, The Last Jedi was a positive experience. People debated it, but people also loved it, and they tell me about it. And the choice to focus on the positive amidst the conflict, I think, is wise.
Yeah, indeed, and I think, Jen, over the years, it's more in our faces, and we feel it a little bit differently. Where the prequel wars were maybe more localized at the time, even though we had magazines and letters to the editors and chat boards and all those things. I didn't experience it the way I did from 2015 on, which, if Ryan got through all that unscathed, God bless him. A lot of us didn't. So I'm not undercutting what he said. I actually really agree with what he said, because the thought is, yeah, we've been fighting since day 2, maybe. But your overall thoughts on that, we can dive into some of the more peaceful times.
I love that. I think he's totally right. I mean, part of it was I was on the dark side of the prequel wars. And so for me, anytime I would hear any sort of hate or negativity, I was like, yeah. So I have a perhaps slightly different experience. Oh, yeah. I was a hater.
Yeah, I was a spy. I went back and forth between sides. I really liked them, and then I did some sketches that said mean things about them, and then people would, and then friends would come up to me, like, I loved your comedy sketch, you just totally skewered that awful movie. And it's like, no, I was making fun of it, but I also love it. So
it's a hard thing, and that's sometimes what I feel is lost from some of the more modern discourse, because it's so in our faces, where even though some of them will say, oh, it's because I love Star Wars, I want it to be better, and that's just a tool they use to drive home their horrific points. But I think that's always been the balance. The first ever official on the record recording of me talking about Star Wars is a 2011 Schmoes Know podcast 2-parter, where I think we ripped apart the prequels for fun and sport. Because it just seemed like silly, right? That's what we do. But I was watching them. I owned everything about these magazines were purchased. I bought these, like they weren't given to me. All right. This isn't like some, this Jar Jar one isn't some eBay purchase. I bought them because I was a Star Wars fan. And even though I would make fun of things, and that just kind of, and I wouldn't do that again. I don't do that now, but it's gotten to the point where it means more. It's more about our identity, and people use things as weapons now that can be real personal. So that's why even I get enraged. I still fight in the wars, but it has always been there. Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, I do think there is a difference that with the original trilogy, and when we were adults before the prequel trilogy, there were disagreements and there was Ewok hate and all that. But I remember having so many conversations where you could make fun of Star Wars and it was safe because it was agreed upon that we love it. The conversation would be, we love the original trilogy. Stormtroopers can't hit anything. And I can't believe Lucas left that shot in where the Stormtrooper hit its head. But there was no, and that is why this person failed me, and this whole, like, the anger behind it. And I think that's important too, because that's what Rian Johnson, he's around the same age as us, grew up experiencing. Some of that, where some of the debates and disagreements didn't have as much anger behind them. They were fun. And it would be great to get back to that of like, hey, do you love Star Wars? I love Star Wars. Let me poke fun at this thing in Book of Boba Fett without it being a declaration that I have chosen sides and planted a flag that this is awful.
Yeah. And it just non-Star Wars one. But one of the times where I checked out, was when that goddamn coffee cup shows up on Daenerys' desk in season 8, and everyone see proof that Benioff and Weiss wanted to leave. Get the F out of here. Like, stop. You've never
proof that they wanted to leave.
Yeah. Oh, that was part of it. See, they were so lazy. And again, season 7, 8, you can have those discussions. They wanted out, and they left the coffee cup. It's like, do you not know what an assistant director does? Or stop. And that's where it's gotten, that's where some of the stuff gets to now. Where quite frankly, Ryan doesn't have to engage with that, right? He's off doing his films. He's off producing a TV show. He's He's off making playlists, for his characters. Like we're a little bit more in that world. It is so. I'm not undercutting what he said. I'm just saying that's the kind of stuff we've experienced the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I leave coffee cups on my tables all the time. All right. I was going to say a positive spin on it. What are some of the more peaceful moments for us in our own journey as Star Wars fans, Jen? Those moments where it did feel like the wars were subsided, if even only for an hour.
Yes. Sorry, I was texting with a fellow parent. Minimum days. I going back to a time pre-children. For me, the most peaceful era, good times of my life, was the Clone Wars era. And where it really felt like it was a new generation of fan, that they were younger, they were hopeful, they were optimistic, they were happy about the prequels, which was when I learned I had to shut my mouth, not spew my hate as much, because I was like, oh, that is their Star Wars. It was such a valuable lesson, but it just felt like an exciting time for all of us to connect online through YouTube, through fan communities, through StarWars.com, Bonnie Burton, who was such an integral part of that. And it was really special. We were just all happy to find each other. And then Disney bought Lucasfilm, and the rest is history. And things changed, and people went to their respective quote unquote sides, choosing the dark side at times. And I found the light and became a prequelist.
Found the light.
Yeah.
Great stuff, Joseph. Moments in your Star Wars fandom that had peace.
Definitely when I discovered the Clone Wars for myself. Like I said a million times, I saw the film, but then I finally sat down and watched it all in like 2014, and loved it so much, and it increased my love of the prequels. And I think I just loved that there was a vocal community who loved the Clone Wars. But the people who might want to get mad about it, or might kind of just want to use Star Wars storytelling as a piñata, just didn't bother with it. And those have been the peaceful moments when something's kind of flown under the radar, and it's really only being talked about by the people who enjoy it. And I think that Clone Wars kind of pre-Force Awakens, Clone Wars Rebels era being out was great. So to me, it's almost less eras and more projects. Same thing with Bad Batch. Like, with very few exceptions, nobody makes it a personal mission to hate the Bad Batch. They just don't watch it if they're not interested.
Right.
Leaving those of us who love the Bad Batch to love it. And I think that's the thing that sticks with me of like I mentioned it last week. I've been seeing some snarky comments from people hating on Rise of Skywalker who haven't seen it since 2019. I'm like, why? How can you hate something so much that you paid so little attention to? It's like, I was on a train and I saw a bush pass by, and it's the stupidest bush I ever saw, and I'm still angry at that bush that I passed at 500 miles an hour 6 years ago. Like, it isn't people who are like, I'm really, really all in, I'm really invested. It's this weird thing where Star Wars, there's some joy in hating a part of Star Wars that gets into people. And again, like, feel free to dislike Rise of Skywalker. And I know there are people who dislike it who have thoughtful reasons why not. But, I would love to track down what that is that makes people glom onto Star Wars and want to hate a part of it, even when it's having no impact on them whatsoever and they barely paid attention to it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. I have a list. I have a list of names. For me, in terms of fandom and peace, there's been three moments that I go to. One is in 1999 in a theater, finally sitting down, and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away pops up, and then it fades away, and right before that music note hits, it was a united fandom. And yes, you can make all the jokes, the Brick Wars and everything. The movie Fanboys deals with that. I don't love that film, I'll just say, but that moment was just such pure energy. Oh my God, it was just so much Star Wars joy, and I can live in that moment forever, regardless of the journey, the prequels going forward. And I too, Jen, am with you on the prequelist adventure and journey. But the time period of Force Awakens, I saw Laserbolt in chat. He says it right there. There's so much excitement for the future of Star Wars when Force Awakens came out, good times, and that's just natural. That has nothing even to do with the discourse or the culture war that raged around Star Wars and the Star Wars was sucked into, all that stuff, but like by bad actors, I will point out. But it's also just the start of a journey, right? And then eventually your expectations of what you think should happen to a character, that's somewhat natural, right? There's that, but I will go specifically to, I was in Prim, Nevada, on the California-Nevada border. My friend, we were driving back from a wrestling convention, and we were getting gas at that big gas station there that everyone stops at. And the trailer dropped because it was Thursday, and everyone was at the panel, Star Wars Celebration Anaheim. I was getting there. I was going to go there Friday, coming back from Vegas, and I had it on my phone. And it's 10 years ago, but that might have been a, ColecoVision in my hand. Like, I was downloading 320p in the middle of the desert and had to wait for it to load like the old days. And I watched it with tears in my eyes. This is the Chewie We're Home. And I was far, far away from everyone in my life or the fandom. My friend was a fan too, but I felt so connected. I felt so there. Almost to the point where I feel as though I have the memory as if I was in Star Wars Celebration that day. I was not. I know right where I was, but it just feels connected. There's that. And then the third one, the final one for me, is the first night of Mandalorian. That experience of because we also were learning to use Disney Plus, and just the communicating to each other, whether it was through social media or just text. If it didn't show up for you, does it? Oh, I heard if you do this, if you do that. We were all curious. We had no idea what a Star Wars TV show like this was going to be, and it was such a wonderful, warm feeling. Again, reality sets off. Different opinions are going to form. That's all that. But I love those moments, and I live for those moments as a Star Wars fan. So we'll get to those again.
There was a long Mandalorian honeymoon in a great way, and the general public's reaction was enjoying. At the time, Baby Yoda. That was fantastic. I also think there was a little bit of a nice window after Rogue One, because people definitely had some problems with Force Awakens. There was definitely ugliness, but not to the level that we saw with Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. And then Rogue One, I think, came out and surprised people, because I think that was a standard position, was sort of, this is going to make it all safe and cutesy. There was a nice moment of some shutting up after Disney slaughtered the entire main cast of Rogue One. It's a nice moment of shutting up.
Some comments in there. Oliver said Skeleton Crew felt like a few minutes apiece across the fan base. Grateful for that. And I agree with that. And a little bit of what you were talking about, Joseph, too, where it wasn't as watched as much, which I think is a shame, because I absolutely love that series. Just did my rewatch recently, and just, gosh, I just love what they pull off in that series. But yeah, I had that vibe of like, all right, we're in our little corner of love watching this thing. Jeannie from Tahini says, when it comes to Star Wars, I have a tendency to focus on what I love, and the things that don't sit with me just kind of fade into the background. Yeah, that is true. Slightly harder to do when you have Star Wars podcast broadcasting 4 times a week, and you want to be honest in your opinions, but yeah. All right. Any final thoughts here, Jen, on the great wars of Star Wars fandom?
Oh, no, boy, it's changed. As Gaz Nottingham is saying, this really sums it up. There's too much tribalism within our culture. Over the last decade, fandom, politics, etc., are dividing us. A lot of the Star Wars divide occurred when the old books comics were declassified as legends. Yes, I remember that. There was a lot of anger around that. It's sad.
Yeah, April 2014, and I sometimes apologize for what I said to Legends fans, but I was part of the wars. I was part of the wars too that day.
Oh no!
Ooh, IG-88's not gonna be part of the Death Star brain anymore. Ooh, yeah. All right, I apologize.
Yes. Still to this day, people discovering that Chewbacca was hit by a moon. I saw that discussion on social media today, or not today, a couple days ago. Anyway, everybody can enjoy the parts of Star Wars they like and have fun conversations about it. Hooray!
Indeed. I apologize for my snarkiness. Final little news piece, though I did even see some more red carpet stuff from Sean Levy at the Stranger Things 5 premiere, so I apologize. I didn't pull that into the conversation. Maybe I'll find it there. Star Wars Starfighter update. Here's the update. The movie is still being made. It's about halfway through production.
What?
Star Wars Starfighter is going really, really well, says Sean Levy. We're just over halfway through production, and every day I'm bringing my 10-year-old self to set with me. I knew it would be a dream come true territory, but when you get on those sets and you're surrounded by those droids and aliens and the scale of those new planets and new sets and new costumes, it's joyous every day. It's hard as hell, but Ryan Gosling is a beast of an actor and a dream collaborator, and it's going great. So, Jen, based on that, please predict all the new planets and aliens from that quote alone.
No, I just had to laugh because I read that quote and I was like, ugh. And my husband said, "What's wrong?" I'm like, Sean Levy's so damn positive. So he was like looking at me like, what? Are you okay? I was like, it's all right. I'm going to work through it. I have a lot of homework to do. So I watched the clip of him on the red carpet. And it totally, I was so glad I did. Because listen, I like Sean Levy. I don't know why I have this beef with him all of a sudden.
I get it.
But, like, I heard an interview with him on Smartless, and he's been through a lot of trauma. And he's a very earnest person. And when I listened to him saying this quote, I totally was like, oh, all right, I get it. Like, it's sweet, right? But I was very cynical when I was like, of course he's going to say that. We've already heard that from Jon Favreau. What are you going to do? Like, I don't know what that is within me. That's the Kylo Jen, as someone said. Kylo Jen. Because if you think about it, Jon Favreau's taken them all, right? Jawas, Rhodians, IG8, well, not IG88 exactly, but an IG droid. Like, he's taken all the greatest hits. So, Sean, what are you going to bring? I don't know. Your 10-year-old self.
First of all, I love when occasionally we stumble onto punk rock, Jen. That's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. Joseph, what new planets, Joseph? Prediction. I need your predictions of new planets.
I'm guessing water planet because the only footage we've seen is wet Ryan Gosling. So I think Ryan Gosling in his wet space pants. You know what? We also want to just discuss Ryan Gosling's space pants the weekend that Disney fired Jimmy Kimmel. Hopefully we will go to the planet that culture is based entirely on producing the greatest pants in the galaxy. You can see Ryan Gosling buy his space pants. I would like that.
The origin of space pants. Yeah.
Why are there lines in the pants? I know Hans are the Krellian blood stripe. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's like a planet bespokian, and it's like all these aliens just making bespoke pants. Little side. No, it's great. I love it. Pantonica, says Maddie Gunner.
Pantonica, love it.
I joke we're going to get these kind of updates, and they're on the red carpet for another project. That's what's going to happen. But what I take for that quote is to your point, Jed. There's some joy there. There's a lot to think about this film. There's a lot about the slate that's still out there, and the people behind it, and I think it's important to have those discussions. But for right now, I for one am still looking forward to 2027 to see what this film will be. And one of the other quotes I don't have in front of me, but it scrolled past me this morning of him kind of saying, we don't have to be, I'm totally paraphrasing, dangerous territory. I'm not AI, of not being beholden of anything that came before. We can kind of explore new things and do what we want to do in this project. So that's also encouraging as well. Joseph, any final thoughts here?
The only thing to me that really jumped out for this quote is that, Ryan Gosling is a beast of an actor. Ryan Gosling is so multi-talented. I'm sure he can handle the comedy and the charm, but he is a great dramatic actor with kind of a serious dark side. I mean, he's great in Drive. He's a scary guy. So I hope that there are kind of layers to the character, and because that's one of the things that makes Star Wars great is it can jump from comedy to drama to horror, and all fit together, that I hope that Ryan Gosling really gets a workout. It's also like a part of me that kind of just feels like Ryan Gosling does seem like a Harrison Ford type who can make going through a grueling ordeal really charming. I hope that the Ryan Gosling character is put through an Indiana Jones, like, I don't want to do this, but I have to, and just frankly gets beat up a lot. Because I think that's a really a thing that Ryan Gosling can play really well. Indiana Jones ringer.
I think it's an excellent point. I think obviously there's still some of that talk of, a big name in Star Wars, and people can rub up against that, which I totally get, though I always go to 1999 and, there was a lot of known actors, showing up in Star Wars. It's not always unknowns, but I get it. But this is, I don't have his resume in front of me. I don't have IMDb open, but like he hasn't missed on a lot of things, even if some of the projects have. You know, he himself is comes away feeling good. It seems sincere. It's hard. We don't know anyone. No parasocial relationship being formed here, but even in his performance at the Academy Awards of I'm Just Ken, you just get the sense that people like him because he likes them. And I think that's a performer that translates to screen pretty well. And I'm looking forward to that as well. See what it's a good team.
Yeah. I just want to say the beast of an actor thing. Immediately, I was like, oh, must be doing really long hours, difficult stunts or like things in water where he's cold, but still bringing that top game performance. And like you guys are saying, and so I think that's I always forget Ryan Gosling's in this. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, there's bigger things to want. I totally get it, Jen. I laugh at your Sean Levy reaction, but I get it. I understand it.
No, he's a nice person. I'm sure. And I'm glad that I watched the video clip because it softened my Grinch heart.
See, context. Full context.
That's right.
There we go. All right, we're about to wrap this up. We got some outstanding comments and super chats. Igor the Mad, thank you for this. Popping at work to say hello. Happen to listen later. I've been planning a Japan trip for all December, but can't watch Visions after dropping Disney Plus. Not subscribed to Disney Plus. So to get it, our review of Visions comes. I think we're gonna release it Wednesday. Dennis saying there was a Back to the Future reference in one of the Vision shorts and it was amazing. I don't know if I've gotten there yet, but that's good.
Yeah, no.
We want to shout out Hugo, my 11th old baby Bean and I are ready for the episode. Congratulations. 11-month belated congratulations, Hugo.
Yeah,
there we
so
go.
sweet.
All right. Any final? We got sorry. Gaz saying this. I really think fans need to remember the wise words of ForceCenter, UK spelling, to engage with what is presented. I see too many reviews nowadays where half the videos explaining how it should have been written. Don't get me started. Yeah.
Please present me your fan fiction.
Yeah.
One of the things that fan fiction is for. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or even back in I was on a Rebels review show with Maude Garrett back in 2014, and and nothing against the fine folks on it, but I remember through the episode we were sitting on that old couch at AfterBuzz, where that studio had the second couch with the second camera, and their review show was just recounting everything we all just watched. With no insight, no reaction, just going, all right. And the next scene was this. There we go. All right. And the next scene was this. I'm like, this isn't a review show. we're just recounting what we all watched. Dig deeper.
Pivot to second video. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Anyways, there we go. All right. I think we did it. Any other final thoughts and notes from us here, Jen?
No. Fan thesis, please. Yes, Maddie.
Thesis, please.
Yes.
There we go. Joseph, any thoughts? Yak Face. Well, yeah, I saw a comment here. Yak Face going to show up in Star Wars Starfighter.
That would be great because then we get a new action figure. Somebody else had a concern that the Amon-Amon's presence or an Amon-Amon character, it was going to make the original Amon-Amon action figure even more expensive and difficult to find. It is a concern. It's a worry. I had to rush out and get my Sutek action figure when he was revealed as coming back in Doctor Who, so I understand. No, I think big picture, this is actually feeling like a very fun time to be talking about Star Wars. I'm really excited about both of these films that I think we could use a little bit of fun and a little bit of hope, and I think both of these are going to have those in them.
They will indeed. We all could use a little bit of that. A lot going on in the world. A lot of people need probably in your own life. So, hey, check in with everyone around you this week, too, as we all trudge on forward trying to survive. Hey, we're out of here today. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. Support us directly on Patreon at patreon.com/ForceCenter. From there, get into the Discord with a great community of Star Wars fans. Come hang out with us there. You can follow me at Ken Napzok. Join my show, The Blathering, live Monday, Thursdays, and Saturday nights on my YouTube channel. A lot of fun over there. Silliness, seriousness, all of the above. Jen, where can they find and follow you?
You can find me on all the social media sites at Jennifer Lando when I procrastinate on my homework.
Fair enough. No procrastination for you, sir. You have to finish your special edition of your film already.
Yes, that one will be finished today, and then it's lots of fun, stressful stuff where I should probably pay attention to the moving and shaking that Sean Levy does behind the scenes. 'Cause that's sometimes what it takes. Speaking of that, we've got a mailing list going for people who want to stay caught up with our film Dead Media. This is going to be a mailing list where we only send out a message if there's something really specific going on with the film, like it's screening in a specific place, or you need people to talk it up for a week on social media and all that. So I'm going to put that in the chat if you'd like to join the mailing list for our horror film Dead Media. You can do that right here.
There you go. All right. That is it. As Nick says in a Vader voice, no procrastinations. There you go. All right. That's it. We will see you all next time. Visions Volume 3 coming out, our Visions Volume 3 review coming out Wednesday. We'll see you all soon here on ForceCenter.